So I want to talk about this video right here. It is from James Boyd, and it is from the Indiana Fever. Basically, what they were doing in training camp, and there's genuinely a couple of moves here that I was like, okay, yes, I get it. I really, really get it, and I'm like, okay, these are the type of things we did not see Caitlin Clark do in her pro career. And we've seen it in preseason a little bit of times, and it is an active effort to do certain things. So you're looking here.
Angel Reese just saw the footage, and the look on her face said everything. The scouting report she has used to hunt Caitlin Clark for years just went up in smoke. It was not just a practice session. It was a warning shot that echoed through the entire WNBA. Caitlin did not just add a move. She unlocked a cheat code that makes the old game plan look like a total joke. When the video started circulating, rivals were not just watching, they were panicking because the one weakness they thought they had pinned down has completely vanished overnight. The league is officially on notice that the girl they thought they knew has evolved into something far more dangerous than anyone predicted.
Pro career. And we've seen it in preseason a little bit of times, and it is an active effort to do certain things. So you're looking here. Starts off again. First of all, the vets in motion offense, fuck me, it looks bad. But, so Caitlin Clark comes here, turns the corner, and that is, like, Caitlin Clark has finished a couple of times right hand on the left side. But, like, so she comes across that going left. And the expectation is teams try to go over screens on Caitlin Clark going left because she shoots that step back. She turns the corner on that, because if you go over a screen, you're susceptible to be beaten when you turn.
For years, every coach in the country had the same folder on Caitlin Clark. If she goes left, she is pulling up for that lethal step back. If she goes right, she is looking to pass or drive to the rim. It was a mechanical tell, a biological reality of her being left-eye dominant. You could shade her, force her into the weak side, and hope for the best. But James Boyd's recent footage from the Indiana Fever training camp just blew that strategy out of the water. We are seeing a version of Caitlin that refuses to be predictable anymore, and the results are honestly terrifying for anyone tasked with guarding her this season. The old rules of engagement simply do not apply anymore.
But the problem with Caitlin Clark is that she's been one-dimensional. That is the thing. And to be honest, like, when you are as good as Caitlin Clark is, sometimes if they can't stop the one dimension, it doesn't really matter. So, from this possession right here, I just want to show you guys how bad this looked. So Maisha Hines-Allen, the ball comes in from pick and roll. It's on the wing. Flare screen from Lexi. Lexi cuts into a pick and roll. KK Timpson does nothing. And then Sophie Cunningham throws it up to Lexi, who gets swatted. That is a bad, objectively bad offense. This is what I like to call It
is all about the release point. Most shooters who bring the ball up the center of their face struggle to shoot while moving toward their dominant hand side. Caitlin used to be the poster child for this, always crossing the ball over her body to get into her rhythm. But look at the new tape. She is catching the ball on a flare going right and letting it fly directly from her right hip. She is not bringing it across her body anymore. This is not just a minor adjustment. It is a total overhaul of her shooting mechanics that eliminates the split-second window defenders used to have to recover. It is a faster, meaner, and much more efficient way to destroy a defensive scheme.
The Lexi, who gets swatted. That is a bad, objectively bad offense. This is what I like to call the equal opportunity offense. As in, there's no target to get the ball to. It is just pass the ball around and shoot an open shot. And the problem is that KK Timpson, if you watch KK Timpson I think what Maisha Hines-Allen does is fine display. I think Ty Harris is fine display. KK Timpson is standing in the corner for no reason. And that is not a flare screen. She does nothing there. She does literally nothing. And the ball gets swung to Sophie.
Then there is the finishing at the rim. We saw her turn the corner on a screen, going left, but finishing with a right-handed layup on the left side of the hoop. That sounds simple, but in the pro game, that is the difference between a bucket and a block. By using her body to shield the defender and finishing with the wrong hand, she is proving that her one-dimensional label was a temporary phase. If she can finish with either hand from either side, you cannot just force her anywhere. You are just guessing, and when you guess wrong against Caitlin Clark, you end up on a highlight reel while she walks back down the court with a smirk. The versatility is becoming her greatest weapon.
No reason. And that is not a flare screen. She does nothing there. She does literally nothing. And the ball gets swung to Sophie, who dribbles to nowhere, who kicks it to Lexi, who's guarded and shoots a guarded three. Like, that is everything wrong with equal opportunity motion offense. The purpose of basketball is to get open shots. 99% of the time. Or I say not even 99% of the time, because it's just not true. The Indiana Fever literally nearly made the finals hitting tough shots. But over the course of 10 years,
think about what this means for a player like Angel Reese. Their rivalry is built on high-stakes defense and knowing exactly how to get under each other's skin. Angel thrives on physicality and predicting her opponent's next move. But when the opponent deletes their only predictable habit, the frustration sets in fast. You can see the reaction across the league, a mix of disbelief and a feeling of here we go again. The gap between Caitlin and the rest of the rookie class is not just staying the same. It is widening because she is working on the tiny details that most players ignore until year 5. This kind of sudden improvement is enough to make any elite defender lose their cool.
Right catch. She shot it from her right, almost from her right hip. That is not a shot Caitlin Clark would have ever taken, even in practice. Everybody knows the game plan for Caitlin. And that's the thing where people are like, oh, people know the game plan for Caitlin. It's like, well, yeah, everybody knows the game plan for everybody. Like, Michael Jordan literally came out and said, I have the game plan for LeBron in 2013, and goes, if LeBron goes right, he's going to the basket. If he goes left, he's pulling up. And then, like, a week later in the Eastern Conference Finals, he drove left and took a layup on Paul George and basically said, well, they said I was going to pull up when I go left. That's what the scout report says. No, it was Michael Jordan.
The atmosphere at the Fever training camp is shifting. They are moving away from that equal opportunity offense where everyone just passes the ball around aimlessly. We saw some of that messy motion offense where players like KK Timpson were just standing in corners doing nothing. It was objectively bad basketball, but when the ball finds Caitlin in these new sets, everything changes. The random passes are being replaced by calculated strikes. She is demanding the ball in positions where she used to be uncomfortable, forcing the vets to keep up or get left behind. This is not a team looking to just participate. They are building a system around a player who has no remaining weaknesses.
They said I was going to pull up when I go left. That's what the scout report says. No, it was Michael Jordan. Like, I don't think people understand saying that a right-handed shooter, especially somebody who releases the ball from here, like any shooter who releases the ball from here, if you like, just mechanically, you don't like bringing the ball up across your body. So if somebody shoots from this side, they prefer to dribble. They will prefer to shoot going right. If somebody shoots from this side of their face, neither is right or wrong. It just depends on what eye dominant you are. Darts is the best example. Some darts players throw from here. Phil Taylor threw from here.
Even the greatest of all time had a scouting report. Michael Jordan famously said he knew LeBron James's exact tell back in 2013. If LeBron went right, he was driving. If he went left, he was shooting. A week later, LeBron went left and took a layup on Paul George just to prove MJ wrong. That is the level Caitlin is playing at right now. She knows what the league says about her. She knows they think they can force her right to take away her jumper. By developing this right side pull-up, she is essentially telling the entire WNBA that their homework is officially useless. She is inviting the challenge just so she can dismantle it in front of a sold-out crowd.
Scout. Everybody has a game plan. Like, if you're guarding A'ja Wilson, your game plan has to be cut off the left-hand drive and force her into a turnaround jump shot, where she is extremely streaky. She's not nearly a good enough, she's too good a driver and not nearly a good enough turnaround jump shooter to settle for as many shots she does, and that should be the game plan on A'ja. And if she's hitting those turnaround jump shots, well, fuck it, we're going to lose. Like, there are certain players where if you execute your game plan, they still score. It's one of these situations where it's like, well, fuck it, we just lose. Caitlin Clark's one of them. If you execute your game plan to try to stop her.
Let us talk about the science, because it is wild. Being left-eye dominant as a right-handed shooter is a specific challenge. It makes shooting while moving right feel off because your alignment is skewed. Players like Paige Bueckers and Courtney Williams are some of the only ones who have truly mastered the art of being equally dangerous going both ways. For Caitlin to be reaching this level of comfort this early in her pro career is unheard of. She is fighting her own biology to become the most efficient scoring machine the women's game has ever seen, and she is winning that battle. It is a level of dedication to the craft that most people will never truly understand. There comes a point where a player becomes so skilled that the game plan does not matter anymore. Look at Aja Wilson. The plan is to cut off her left hand and force her into a turnaround jumper, but if Aja is hitting those jumpers, you just lose. Caitlin is entering that territory. If you execute the perfect defense, shade her right, stay attached to her hip, and she still pulls up and drains a three from her right hip, there is nothing left to do but walk back to the huddle. That is the psychological warfare she is bringing to the court this season, and it is breaking her rivals before the game even starts. It is the ultimate checkmate in a game of tactical chess. We saw flashes of this against the Dallas Wings. It was not just the logo threes that everyone loves to talk about. It was the way she looked comfortable coming off a right side catch in transition. In college, she might have reset the play or hunted for a screen to get back to her left. Now, she is attacking the moment she touches the leather. The speed of her decision-making has doubled because she no longer has to hunt for her spot. Everywhere is her spot now. That fluidity is what makes a superstar truly unguardable at the professional level. She is playing at a speed that the defense simply cannot process, and it is leaving everyone in the dust. For defenders like Angel Reese, this is a nightmare scenario. You spend your whole career learning how to funnel players into their weaknesses. But what happens when the weakness becomes a strength? You start to lose your composure. You start gambling on steals that are not there. You start fouling out of frustration. We have seen Angel lose it before, when things do not go her way on the glass. But losing it because you literally cannot stop a jump shot is a different kind of pain. It is a feeling of helplessness that spreads through a defense like a virus, and once it takes hold, the game is effectively over. No amount of trash talk can save you from a perfect jumper. The Fever are still trying to figure out their identity, and sometimes it looks ugly. There is this equal opportunity style where nobody is the clear target. We saw possessions where the ball gets swung to players who have no idea what to do with it, leading to guarded, low-quality shots. It is the exact opposite of what you want when you have a generational talent on the floor. But these training camp clips show Caitlin taking charge. She is not just a part of the offense, she is becoming the offense, and she is doing it by proving she can score from any angle. The team is finally realizing that the best move is to let the best player do what she does best. We actually saw the beginnings of this during her junior year at Iowa. There was that game winner where she showed she had the ability to go downhill and finish with authority. But doing it in college is one thing. Doing it against WNBA vets who are faster, stronger, and meaner is another. People thought she would struggle with the physicality of the pro game. Instead, she is using their own momentum against them. By adding this right side pull-up, she is forcing defenders to respect the drive even more, which ironically opens up the very three-pointers they are trying to stop. She is playing a game of cat and mouse, where she is always the cat. Watch the footage again and notice where the ball starts. It is almost on her right hip. For most shooters, that is a recipe for a blocked shot or an air ball. But Caitlin's wrist snap is so fast that she can get it off before a defender can even react. It is a short circuit shot. It bypasses the traditional shooting motion entirely. This is the kind of innovation that happens when a player realizes they are being scouted into a corner. Instead of complaining about the double teams or the physical play, she is simply changing the rules of the engagement. She has found a way to be dangerous in the one area everyone thought she was vulnerable. The tension between the new guard and the established stars is at an all-time high. Every time Caitlin does something new, the social media world erupts, and you know the other players are seeing it. Angel Reese is a competitor through and through. She does not want to hear about Caitlin's new shot. She wants to shut it down and prove she is the top dog. But when the tape shows a player who has solved her own greatest mystery, the competitive fire turns into genuine concern. How do you stop someone who can now score going in both directions with equal efficiency? It is a question that is going to keep coaches awake all night long this season. One specific play stood out in the practice footage. Caitlin coming off a flare screen going right. In the past, this was a safe play for the defense. You could just trail her and wait for the pass, knowing she would have to turn back. But now, she is catching and firing in one motion. It is a lightning-fast release that mirrors the greats like Steph Curry. By mastering the right side catch and shoot, she has eliminated the need to always have the ball in her hands to be a threat. She is becoming a ghost on the court, popping up in the one place defenders were told she would never shoot from. It is a tactical evolution that changes everything. Pro scouts are literally throwing away their old notes right now. The report used to say, force right, stay on the left hip, contest high. Now, that report might as well be a blank piece of paper. If you force her right, she pulls up. If you stay on her left, she drives. If you contest high, she goes under. The unstoppable tag gets thrown around a lot in sports media, but this is the literal definition of it. When a player has an answer for every question the defense asks, the game is already over before the tip-off. She is playing at a level where she is essentially her own offensive coordinator, making adjustments in real time to destroy her opponents. We have seen the clips of Angel Reese getting heated on the court, and it is usually because she feels the game is slipping away. Imagine that feeling when you are playing perfect defense and Caitlin Clark hits a shot going the wrong way. It is demoralizing to the core. It leads to the kind of losing it moments that go viral for all the wrong reasons. The mental edge that Caitlin is developing is just as dangerous as the physical one. She is getting into their heads by proving that their best effort isn't even close to being good enough to stop her new arsenal. She is winning the psychological war before the physical one even begins. It is not all sunshine and rainbows in Indiana yet. The vets are still trying to adjust to Caitlin's incredible pace. Sometimes the motion looks bad, as the analyst put it. Players are standing in the wrong spots, screens are being set for nobody, and the ball is moving to nowhere. But in the middle of that chaos, Caitlin is the stabilizing force. She is the one identifying the gaps and exploiting them with surgical precision. As the rest of the team catches up to her vision, the league is going to realize that this new shot is just the tip of the iceberg for the Fever. They are building a juggernaut, and she is the undisputed engine driving it forward. High-level basketball, whether it is in Europe or the NBA, relies on generating high-quality shots. You do not see full-motion offenses unless you have a generational playmaker like Jokic or Caitlin Clark. The Fever are trying to build that system, but it only works if the defense is terrified of the primary threat. By becoming a multi-directional shooter, Caitlin is drawing 2 and 3 defenders every time she crosses half court. This creates the high-quality looks for her teammates that the team has been desperately missing. She is sacrificing her own comfort to break the system and elevate everyone around her, which is the mark of a true superstar. Imagine being a defensive coordinator trying to explain this to your players. You have to tell them that everything they knew about her is wrong. We knew she went left, but now she goes right. We knew she finished left, but now she finishes right. At some point, the players are going to look at the coach and ask what they are supposed to do, and the answer is increasingly becoming, pray she misses. That is the reality of the WNBA in the Caitlin Clark era. She has successfully navigated the transition from college star to pro enigma by refusing to stay stagnant for even a single off-season. She is always one step ahead of the defense. This is not just about one game or one rivalry. This is about the evolution of the position. Every young guard coming up is going to watch this footage of Caitlin Clark shooting from her right hip and realize that the old rules don't apply anymore. She is setting a new standard for what it means to be a complete player. The rivalry with Angel Reese will continue to be the headline, but the real story is the quiet work being done in empty gyms. That work is what makes her unstoppable, and it is what leaves her opponents fuming in the locker room. She is redefining greatness one jump shot at a time, and the world is watching. At the end of the day, basketball is a game of adjustments. Most players make 1 or 2 big leaps in their entire career. Caitlin Clark is making them every single month. The new shot is not just a highlight, it is a statement of intent. She is not here to just be a part of the WNBA. She is here to dominate it completely. When rivals like Angel Reese see this kind of growth, the reaction is only natural. It is a mix of respect and pure, unadulterated frustration. The scouting report is dead. The new era has arrived. And honestly, there is absolutely nothing anyone can do about it. The game has changed forever, and Caitlin is the one holding the remote.